So like the comments on this video are going to be full of people saying, "Oh, I look better than you, and I'm natty." No, you don't. No, you don't. If you put our physiques, sure, on camera, maybe the film doesn't show it that much, but you stand next to me and you see like the muscle definition and the hardness that I have. And okay, there's one thing is like how other people see you, and that's a benefit, right? That's why you wear clothes that look decent and you do your hair, other people see you, you want to look good to other people. But like it's a much bigger thing when I look in the mirror. Like once I knew the difference, but really understood the difference that steroids do, I'm like, I can't go back to being natty. I can't look like that again. I don't want to be soft.
What's up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Please follow my Instagram at Russo Lifts, just in case something happens to this YouTube channel. You can follow, message, and you can watch my daily story content on Instagram. I'll see you there. What is up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Here with Tony, Huge, and Rob of Enhanced. Today we're going to be going into the topic video of why Rob wanted to start gear in his early 20s versus mid-late 30s. So, Rob, you've recently joined the dark side. Why do you have this regret in your mind of, because you did it right? You go online, they say, oh, wait till you're end 30s, build your base physique and get as much out of it, then switch on to TRT. Why are you in this state of regret from starting later when you're more mature?
Well, I mean, it's like the proof is in the pudding, right? So if you look at pictures of me when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I look like a fat, bloated disaster. And like, of course, my genes were always against me. My family was always had obesity and things like that, so I wasn't getting great genes. But there came a time in my early 30s where I was kind of like, enough is enough. What is going on here? So I went on TRT, and sure enough, I started at 325 pounds. And as soon as I got that outside testosterone in me, because I had my numbers tested and stuff, and I had the levels of an 80-year-old man when I was.
And what did Western medicine do about that? Like, you obviously went to Western medicine, you had obesity, like, that's a big fucking problem, knocking decades off your lifespan. Like, what did they say for you to go about, getting out of that hole?
Well, of course, they always kind of give you the pacified approach. Like, here's some testosterone gel, rub it on your arm. Okay, pray to God that you don't get it on your wife or your kids, and you have to apply it every day. So my thinking and following you guys from years ago and researching on my own and learning, I knew that was probably not the best approach, but I gave it a shot. And it numbers by, I can't remember the exact, I have the labs actually, I should have pulled them out. It raised it up by a minute amount. So that's when I really took things into, I said, I knew that injection testosterone was the way to go, that I could do a TRT dose and I would get the real deal out of it. So as soon as it was like the change happened, because I was struggling to lose weight because I was in such.
Were they fear mongering you injecting testosterone? Like, go into that. Like, what was like when like you're in your head, you're like, okay, because this is a big step for most people, is to jump onto gear, right? So like, what was going through your head when you're like, fuck, I'm gonna go on test? Because you're not a bodybuilder, you're not trying to be a bodybuilder, you're just trying to improve your quality of life.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get jacked and be a jacked 40-year-old dad one day. Really, like, I was trying to improve my quality of health. Really, of course they give you and I asked about it. Of course, I said, well, what about injection testosterone? And of course they're like, oh. You get they try to scare you, because really at the end of the day, and of course I'm not giving medical advice, I'm not a doctor and stuff like that. They're educated on it. They're going back from information that was given to them years prior, and they really haven't, in my belief, my opinion, really went down this rabbit hole enough. I think one day they will change. But they gave me the scare tactics. Oh, well, it's going to increase your blood pressure. You could have an increased chance of heart disease, cholesterol, yada, yada, yada. And then, of course, when you go on the forums, and we're talking 6-7 years ago, and you do your own research, no fat guy should do testosterone. No fat guy should do testosterone. You go on the bodybuilding forums, the undercover forums, and it was the same thing over and over again. I said, well, how is that possible? If you're telling me a fat guy that has low testosterone is going to have the inability to build muscle and burn fat based on his testosterone, why not put him on testosterone and see what happens? So then it clicked. I said, you know what? I don't care. And, watching Tony, watching you, I was confident that I was making the right decision. Sure enough, the weight started to come off. The muscle started to grow. blood pressure started to drop.
Yeah, go into how your biomarkers improve despite... Because, I mean, I kind of agree with the online bro forums of, like, if you're obese, I don't think you'd want to, like, blast shit.
I agree.
But getting on 165 to 250 milligrams, like, you're just giving your body the androgens to begin the recomposition on your way down if you're actually about dieting. And Tony, you're Tony, it's funny, no one knows, but you are the definition of the fucking Noble Natty. Like the, oh, I'm better than all the enhanced athletes, you know, you're like the ace lawyer, and you're like, I'm never touching gear, I hate all drugs, fuck weed, fuck everything, like I'm straight edged as fuck, I'm winning the game, you're losing the game. And then later in life, you had like a paradigm shift of where your whole mentality switched. So what was that?
Yeah, so the reason why I understand how these natties can feel so strongly against chemistry, and how the mainstream can, all the people that follow the mainstream can be so far against chemical enhancement, is because I was that guy before. I was the anti-steroid guy before. I was the anti-marijuana guy before. I believe that anybody who used marijuana should be executed, beheaded, like made an example publicly, tortured even, right? So that's why I understand my audience's psychology so much, and I try to do these gimmicky type things to change the way they look at it, because I don't want them to suffer the same way I did, depriving themselves of the ability to chemically enhance, because every facet of our quality of life can be improved with chemical enhancement. So, I mean, you look at Rob's situation, and I care about people, and it's hard for me to watch so many people suffering from, let's call it something sensational, vitamin S deficiency, vitamin steroid deficiency. You know, if Rob would have gotten on steroids when he was 25, his life would be significantly better during that decade. He would be healthier. He'd live longer. I mean, he's on track now, but like, I think he probably feels the same way I felt, which is that he sort of lost a decade of his life. You know? I mean, when I was 30 years old and I finally decided to jump on steroids, it was after finally realizing that I spent a decade of my life not making progress, beating myself up in the gym, wearing down my joints and tendons and causing all this inflammation, and training hard and getting injuries, and the massive time consumption. When life is so short, if you don't love the gym, then you should optimize your time in the gym. What's hard for me to watch is people who they have this goal, they want to achieve a physique, they want to achieve a certain level of health and performance, and they're in a hamster wheel, and the hamster wheel is built by the mainstream. Yes. Like the mainstream puts you in this hamster wheel, so you never make the progress you're actually seeking, but you think you are. And you don't even realize you're in a hamster wheel until you spent a decade of your life in the hamster wheel, and then it's too late, and life is short, and life is precious. And the counter argument is health. People say it's not healthy to take steroids. We have an epidemic in America and the rest of the world, and you can debate over what the cause of it is, but there's no question that it's happening. Testosterone levels and fertility and all of the alpha male qualities and masculine energy that makes the world, in my opinion, a great, constructive, logical place is decreasing. And there's a huge testosterone deficiency, and there's billions of people suffering from testosterone deficiency. And yet the amount of people who are actually suffering side effects from enhancing with testosterone is so minuscule, and it's so blown out of proportion. And if the media wasn't so biased towards, you know, whatever, big pharma, mainstream monopolies, misinformation, suppressing people, mediocrity, whatever you want to call it, the truth is what deserves a lot of attention is the massive epidemic of testosterone deficiency, and people's quality of life could be massively improved. So if I could go back in time, I wish I would have started steroids at age 20, 21, maybe 21 if I didn't have the ability to look back. Like let's say if I can look back and know what I know now, I would tell my younger self to start steroids at age 20. That would have been the right age for me. But at the time, like I feel like I was still happy with the bodybuilding process. Like I was enjoying it up until I was probably 21. I was really enjoying being a natty. I was competing against the steroid users, and I was beating them, you know, because the truth is, if you're 21 and you do everything right, you diet and you train and your life revolves around bodybuilding, then you can have an amazing physique. But the problem is when you get 25, 26, 27 and you start, you know, working as a lawyer, or, you know, you working a lot of hours or you have a family, and all of a sudden you can't dedicate all your time to health and fitness, like you either got to take shortcuts or you're going to fall way behind. And I kind of fell behind. Like my physique plateaued when I was 20, and I think I wasted too much time in the gym. I think I wasted too much time dieting. I mean, the reason I took steroids wasn't to get huge. It was because I knew that based on me being a natural and having a huge amount of experience as a natural hobby bodybuilder, I knew.
Yeah, how much were you benching as a natural for the audience?
Well, so I was obsessed with bodybuilding when I was really young. So like I started when I was 12, working out, and like I was really taking it serious at age 14. And so by the time I was a junior in high school, I was the strongest in the whole high school as a junior, stronger than every senior. And I was repping 315 pounds for 6 reps, which anybody can do if that's what they do. If they're bench pressing twice a week religiously and their diet is flawless and everything, okay, anybody can do it. It was commitment. I'm sure there's some genetic elements too, of course, but like that was my level of natty commitment. I was so disciplined. I don't have the discipline anymore. I have to say one problem with starting steroids is it's such a crutch. You can have a great physique for such little effort that like, I don't train that hard. I don't diet that hard. And I like it that way, right? But back then I loved bodybuilding. So I don't want to take anything away from a natty who enjoys the process. If you enjoy the process, enjoy the process. I'm not saying you're in a hamster wheel and wasting time if you're making progress and you're enjoying it. But you need to make it relative. Like you think you're making progress, but do you even know what your body's capable with a little bit of chemical enhancement? And the reason why not doing it is health. But like if it's actually healthy, if you approach it healthy, then why aren't you doing it? It's usually ego. That's the problem. That was my problem.
Was that the pivotal, like, because you're like highly intelligent, you're obviously like go-getter, overachiever, like super stubborn in your ways. What was like the pivotal moment where you kind of like bit on your own ego, like, oh, maybe I should have been enhanced? Like maybe this whole paradox of like, I'm better as the natural, you can do it the natural way, like you're led down the mainstream path of like viciously holding it down for the naturals, and like, oh, I'm competing and beating the guys on gear in my gym. Like when did you finally look in the mirror and be like, wait, there's something to that? Like what happened during that switch?
Yeah, that was when I was 30 years old, and I had a friend that was chubby, and he competed in he hired a bodybuilding coach. He competed in his first bodybuilding competition, and he went from being like chubby and like not like a good physique, just like your average American physique, to being shredded and dry and hard in 2 months. Now that's not normal. This guy was like me. He was incredibly disciplined. So what happened is he combined the discipline with the steroids, and he had like miraculous results. And I watched him through the whole process. And when he was up on the bodybuilding stage, that's when I was like, oh my God, I want to do this. I thought I had a great physique. I had an ego about my physique. But when I saw how dry and hard he was, I'm like, I get it now. Like the difference is I looked soft. I was a natty. So like the thing about natties is they think they have an incredible physique. They're like, oh, I look just as good as the other guys. But when you get an eye for it and you really see the difference and you see like the definition and the hardness, and then once you get that, you never want to go back to being a soft natty. Like you're either soft and like kind of full, or you're stringed out, like sucked in, lean as a natty. So like the comments on this video are going to be full of people saying, "Oh, I look better than you, and I'm natty." No, you don't. No, you don't. If you put our physiques, sure, on camera, maybe the film doesn't show it that much, but you stand next to me and you see like the muscle definition and the hardness that I have. And okay, there's one thing is like how other people see you, and that's a benefit, right? That's why you wear clothes that look decent and you do your hair, other people see you, you want to look good to other people. But like it's a much bigger thing when I look in the mirror. Like once I knew the difference, but really understood the difference that steroids do, I'm like, I can't go back to being natty. I can't look like that again. I don't want to be soft.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Russo.
Rob, let's go into your, because we touched on Tony, let's go into how all your biomarkers improved once you began your enhanced journey. Because we always hear that, the outlier abuse cases of steroids ruining biomarkers. Obviously, when we're doing it from a TRT, HRT perspective, it seems like your whole life fell back in track as far as you getting your physique and your quality of life way up.
Yeah, I mean, like Tony brought up some good points too, because I wasn't as hardcore in my 20s going to the gym, but I went to the gym kind of as just like a routine thing. And I was like, never really got anywhere and stuff like that. Obesity was always against me. But, you know, in my 20s, I was 215. I was pretty lean. And then what happened is, you know, I had 3 back-to-back hip surgeries becoming a replacement. And it brought me, it kind of like aged me by, I would say, at least 10 to 15 years. And a complete morbidly obese. And like, I'll send you a picture if you want to put it up there.
Yeah. I'll have my editor throw up a pic.
Yeah, you know, to a point where I was like that at 30 years old on a cane. And I was like, is this, I got to the point where I was like, is this the rest of my life? And then,
And that's a lot of life left to live as a male too.
so
That's the thing.
yeah, and I've spent the last 6 years, because this is going on 6 years now, getting rid of that. So I'm like reversing it. You know, I'm slowly let's see, when I was 325 pounds, I think my blood pressure was 150 something over 95. I just went to the doctor 2 weeks ago. My blood pressure was 120 over 70. Okay. My cholesterol is good. All my labs are good. Check. So I'm really kind of like, if you really look at it, I'm like reversing the damage I've done into my 30s, where I really think that I'm going to get optimal health really in my 40s.
You're a really good example, Rob, because there's a lot of people in your shoes who are, number one, brainwashed by
Yes.
the mainstream that, you know, they're fucked and that there's really nothing they can do about it other than like I guess to get that off with your hormones fucked up, you'd have to like viciously grind for 4 years to get the weight off, then hopefully recover your HPTA at the optimum body fat, when in reality the society is designed to rob a man of his testosterone. So you're literally fighting against the flow that you were pushed down from your surgeries, eating a shitty diet. Without hormones, it's very hard to recover metabolically to get the prime natural physique that someone like Tony had, because the reason why Tony had that natural physique is he started at 12
Correct.
and was vicious about keeping his natural hormones active all the way up to 28 years old. Where most dudes, they have like a good physique in high school, they go into the college fallacy where they're partying in college, they drink the beer, that's when the environment starts to lower their testosterone, then after college they peak, when in reality, if you are a real male in nature, you wouldn't be like peaking as like a man.
Correct.
Until your upper 30s, if your hormones weren't fucked. And you have all these kids who have the hormones of like fucking little girls at 22, 23 that come to me, and I'm like, you've never taken anything and you're 300 nanograms a deciliter? Like, this is becoming very serious.
Yeah.
And there's no way to get the education out there without, you know, getting canceled.
And I look back at my 22, and if I would have taken, there was definitely hormonal, and because if I look at certain things that happen, sex drive, ability to build muscle, all those, you know, there was obviously.
Yeah, how was your libido and vigor during your 20s? Because, like, you should be about getting pussy. You should be, like, vigorous each day with a high drive. Yeah.
You should be attacking. And I would say in my early 20s, off to the break. And then, like, it would come in, like, weight. It wasn't steady. I remember, like, I always said in the back of my mind, I wasn't reaching my ability. I wasn't reaching my full capability where I can pick, you know, top of my.
Tony, go into like when you were in your, you know, Noble Natty, King Noble Natty, and you had to do everything so perfect. And then if you were off for like 5 days, the regression was insane to a point where you were OCD about being a Noble Natty while being OCD about being, you know, top of the food chain as a lawyer. And you basically locked yourself in a cage for most of your early 20s so you could reach high value male status, but you probably drove yourself mentally insane by sitting there and doing everything OCD perfect for so many years straight, I assume.
You know, if I took the shortcuts when I was younger, I don't know if I'd be the same person or not. So I just have to say, in favor of being a Noble Natty, like, it taught me incredible discipline.
True.
But that's something everybody should learn. You know, a young guy should always learn really hardcore discipline. Like think of it like going to the military, right? You know, guys that go to the military, they learn discipline and they get to carry some of that the rest of their life. So I don't want to take away from that, but it's like once you learn discipline, after that point, it's all a waste of time, because I could have an amazing physique if I was right on point, and then as soon as I'm not on point as a natty, it falls apart, and that's just genetics. And some people are different. Some people are mesomorphs and they are able to put on muscle easier and hold more muscle. But my body's an ectomorph. My body's really thin. My dad had a thin body. My grandfather had a thin body. Like, I come from a thin family, and my body doesn't want to hold a lot of muscle. It's just not natural. My body's like a runner's body. At Russo, you understand that,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
You mutated your body, but if you didn't mutate your body, you'd still be really skinny, you know? And like, if you're trying as a natty to go from being skinny to holding a lot of muscle, like, you can't miss meals. You got to eat 6 meals a day. The second you miss a meal, man, your body starts catabolizing that muscle. And, especially in your younger years when your metabolism's crazy fast, I'd say it's easier as you get older to hold on to more muscle. I mean, then it gets harder after a certain age also. But like, it's easier like when you're 28 to hold on to muscle than it is when you're 18, your metabolism's fast. But it's also easier to gain fat. So like when I was younger, I had to work so hard to put on muscle, and then I would lose the muscle as soon as I didn't eat enough food. And that's not, I mean, I built real muscle. The problem is, like, you have a huge calorie consumption and your body goes catabolic when you have a fast metabolism. So you become very high maintenance. And then as I got older, I started noticing my metabolism slowing a little bit, like right around age 30. Anyways, I noticed it was a lot easier to put on fat too. So then it was like, oh man, I got to eat enough food. When I was younger, I just have to eat as much as possible. I just can't miss meals. And when I'm older, then all of a sudden I have to eat frequently. But if I eat too much, now I get fat as a natty. So now it's like, oh my God, what do I have to weigh my food every meal, 6 meals a day? If you want to have an amazing physique, yeah. If you had a high maintenance physique, you got to weigh your food every six meals a day. And your life has to revolve around the diet and training. And so what I would do, when I'm really busy as a lawyer, is I'd pick times. Like, okay, if I want to go on vacation, this is very common.
Right.
People want to look good for the beach. Then they train really hard. They get ready to look for good for the beach. And then they go on vacation. They overeat. They get fat and they get out of shape. And then they got to start the cycle over. And it's like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. And that's the world of the natty. And versus, like, to make it relative, now I got to compare it to how it is now. I do whatever I want. I look good all the time. And that's because of the chemistry.
I think both of you are great examples from 2 different avenues. Like, you have Rob, who faced a lot of, trial and hardship, and instead of accepting defeat, you figured it out outside of the medical matrix, and you sit here today with quality of life 10 times higher than someone. Oh, you're depressed, buddy.
Yeah.
Here's some depressants. Oh, here's a little test gel. Like, we get the weight off a little bit. And then you have the other shift of Tony, who was that guy who, if Tony was on YouTube at like 23, he'd probably be like, oh, I'm going to be this ace lawyer and I'm doing it all natural. I don't understand why all these people are doing all these drugs. And, watch when I'm balling out at 30, like, you fucks are all fucking stupid. And he had that shift, which no one knows that Tony had that shift, which I think is hilarious because it makes all the arguments towards Tony, like, they fall apart when you research into his younger life to his older self. So I think overall you see 2 different angles of someone who fell off the rails, got back on the tracks, and has a higher quality of life. You can enjoy your family more as you age, and you're not, huffing and puffing with horrible blood pressure, trying to get out of bed. You feel good. You want to, like, interact with your kids, where, the average American dad is either a skinny twig with no fucking testing as a beta, or is a fat slob that, doesn't really want to move, unless you were someone like Tony, who viciously maintained his natural hormones his whole life, and the environment didn't take out the testicles as you aged. And then you have Tony, who was the definition of a Noble Natty, which is this stupid cult movement that they constantly attack me every week, when in reality, if they took one shot at test, their whole brain would be rewired like Tony's, and they just sit there in a paradigm shift for 2 years. So
the Noble. I have one more thing about the Noble Natty. They're just children who haven't grown up yet. And I was that child before, and now I've grown up. And so, like, for us who are chemically enhanced, we listen to these children yep, and to me it's just like, I've been there, I've done that, I've graduated from that grade. and
Yep.
you will too someday. Like, I don't have
Yeah.
to convince them too hard. The problem I have with it is when they support censorship.
Yes, through that.
Like, that's the problem, when they try to quiet me down, because I'm actually out there trying to help people. Like, Rob, you're trying to help people out there, and I have this coaching program, this Train with Tony program, in which mainly I help people use chemistry.
Yeah, I'll have my editor
And
throw
like,
that
I
up.
watch the progress. Yeah, and I'm watching these guys progress, and their progress is amazing. It's changing these people's lives completely. They're losing fat, they're gaining muscle, they're much healthier, their blood work's improving. Like, it's 100% positive. And then you have these Noble Natties saying I'm out there killing people. I'm like, all right, maybe I've helped 1,000 people, directly transform their lives with chemical enhancement. And out of those 1,000 cases, we have 1,000 success stories. So we're batting like 100%. And then the Noble Natties come say we're killing people and that I should be censored. Man, we're the ones helping people, and they're trying to deprive people of the information that could help people.
Yeah, and it goes back to that example of like normally a high level Noble Natty who has the ego that Tony had. Tony was the ego Noble Natty, maintained his natural hormones his whole life and had some genetic, thing going for them to become a Noble Natty physique, where they'll shame someone who was like their whole family's thin, they have nothing going for them as far as building a physique.
Correct.
And they could chemically enhance themselves, change their epigenetics for their whole like family line moving forward. And they'll be like, oh, you didn't progress this much naturally, or why are you even touching that? You have no potential. And it's like, you don't want to see this dude completely fix like all the beta bullshit that was going on his whole family line, and that he's going to spend his whole lifetime in reverse out of it. And you're sitting there because your family tree was more about like maintaining a masculine physique, and you're going to degrade someone who's lesser for trying to fix it, fucking with their own body. It's their choice. Like, I'm sure they fucking drink and shit. Like, it's just like, I'll sit there with these dudes arguing with me, and it's like, come have a conversation. You'll melt in a conversation, but like Tony says, they'll sit there, they'll gang up on you,
sheep,
and they'll try and cancel you. They'll all sit there and cancel.
These guys that have great genetics that want to deprive other people of the chemistry that would level the playing field, that is like the worst form of racism. That's like World War II German, I can't say the name of what it is, but you know what it is, of like Aryan race type stuff. Like, we have the chemical advancement now to like transform our bodies to be what we want. And that's threatening to people whose ego and pride is their genetics. Like, they feel like their genetics is their asset and their advantage over the rest of
100%.
humanity. And they don't want other people to have this advantage. And that's normal dark side of human psychology. But we need to be aware of that. We need to be aware of the reason why these people are trying to deprive other people of chemistry. It isn't for the benefit of the other people. It's to harm them by limiting their access to things that could level the playing field.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes me sick. Like I like to create kings. Like, if some guy was not confident in his body his whole life, does enhancement in his mid-20s, he's a different person for the rest of his life, and he's no longer suffering every time he looks in the mirror. And we're all about, we're all sensitive and body image, and everyone's equal. Like, let's not fucking, like, let's be real about that. But like, someone does something about it, and now like, dude, that could kill you, that 200 milligrams of test. Like, right.
So can
yeah, the risk profile is really there at 200 milligrams a week of test.
Like, it's one thing if you're genetically gifted, but that's great if you have that. Not everybody has it. I'll tell you one thing, like, I don't want my kids to look at me. Thank God they don't have the person I was 6 years ago.
Right, exactly.
I don't want them growing up with that. I want them a dad that's in good shape, that physically takes care of himself, physically, mentally, and spiritually, and can be a dominant male for his kids and his family.
And Rob, when you were predisposed to fight the epigenetics of obesity that were passed down to you. So like, right as you come into the world,
I'm screwed.
You're fighting to be the most breedable in the black-pilled like RPG character.
Yep.
Like, you have that to your disagree, and you have to get out of that. It's just like,
if you can change yourself and improve yourself for the better, have a better quality of life, and totally do why would you want to do something?
I don't know.
That's another huge topic. Also, is what are the side effects of steroids, which are very little, versus the side effects of having a physique and unbalanced hormones that are depressing to you or make you feel worse. Like the psychological benefits of steroids are trickle down into every other part of your life.
I mean, I'll put
That's what
the
happened with
tinfoil hat on. It's almost like all this like, oh, male emotion and depression shit. Oh,
Get
like that can be
about it.
like I'm bipolar and I go through bipolar depressive episodes. Like sure, like depression is real,
It is.
but like if you have unbalanced hormones, like a doctor should just be like, let's get your hormones. Oh, wow, your estrogen is like off the charts and you have no testosterone. That's going to impact the brain chemistry of how you're thinking. Like, let's fix that. Instead, they're going to look at that like, oh, you're depressed. Here's some SSRIs. And like once you're on SSRIs, you're in the system and you're addicted and like fuck your who cares about, I don't know much about fuck your hormones. And like this whole propagated male mental health thing is just out of control in my opinion. Like when I'm depressed, I'm just like, it's on me to get out of it. You know,
100%.
other males can like be like, okay, I'm there, but it's on me to get out of it. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, I'm defeated. Oh, I'm going to take these drugs and not like correct anything. Like, I just feel like that feminism shit is getting to a point where like, if you say that you want to deal with your emotions as a man and not like go seek therapy, like what am I going to get out of talking to someone? Like, I just have to figure it out and get out. I can talk to someone close to me, but I see a lot of dudes fall in that rabbit hole too. And it comes back down to, like Tony says, the testosterone is destroyed. And you go there, me and Tony will go there and be like, look, it's your hormones. And then we're attacked like, oh, we're creating drug addicts. Oh,
No.
we're the menace to society. And it's like, no, this environment is destroying males and you're just trying to help them get back on track. But, you know, now I'm public enemy number one. So hopefully you guys learned something from this video. Be sure to check out Rob and Tony, links in the description. And if you want to join the Enhanced Athlete team as an athlete, be sure to reach out to Rob. He can get you hooked up with a code and commission. And then obviously Tony's shenanigans speaks for itself. And go check out the final episode of the Mass Blast. I was actually cracking my ass off watching this before we got on camera. I will see you guys in my next one.